They called her the Platinum Blonde, the original Bombshell, the girl who lit up the silver screen before Marilyn ever whispered happy birthday. But behind that killer smile and sultry laugh was a life soaked in secrets, scandal, and the kind of heartbreak that no camera ever caught. Jean Harlow wasn't just Hollywood's golden girl, she was its tragedy wrapped in diamonds. She dazzled millions, ruled the box office, and became the fantasy of an entire generation. But while the world watched her shine, no one saw her fade until it was too late. Imagine being 21 and already the biggest sex symbol in the world. Jean Harlow made it look effortless. Her bleach blonde hair, her razor-sharp wit, and her fearless presence on screen made her a sensation before the word even existed. She was bold, she was blunt, she was bombshell energy before bombshells were even a thing. But fame comes at a price, and for Jean, that price was way steeper than anyone could have imagined. So buckle up, because this isn't just another Hollywood fairy tale. This is the raw, unfiltered, jaw-dropping saga of the girl who burned bright and burned out way too soon. From wild studio drama to doomed romances, from censorship fights to sudden death, Jean Harlow's story is a wild ride through the glitzy, gritty underbelly of classic Tinseltown. And you're not ready for what's coming. Let's rewind to March 3rd, 1911. Harleen Harlow Carpenter is born in Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah, that's right. Jean Harlow wasn't even her real name. She came from a wealthy family, but her early years were messy. Her parents divorced when she was a kid, and her mom, who was obsessed with becoming an actress herself, basically lived through Jean. Stage mom alert? Big time. At 16, Jean eloped with a rich guy named Charles McGrew and moved to Beverly Hills. She wasn't even trying to act at first. She was just driving her friend to casting calls. But Hollywood noticed. That face, that voice, that look. She was made for the movies, and she didn't even know it yet. Her big break came in Howard Hughes' 1930 film Hell's Angels. The moment she purred, "Would you be shocked if I put on something more comfortable?" Cinema history was made. Audiences were shook. Critics? Mixed. But Hughes knew exactly what he had. A blonde bombshell the world had never seen before. Hughes marketed her like wildfire, and Jean Harlow became a name no one could forget. And then came MGM. When Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer signed her in 1932, Jean's career exploded. Under the glitzy control of MGM's boss Louis B. Mayer, she transformed into the ultimate sex symbol. She starred in hits like Red Dust with Clark Gable, Dinner at 8, Reckless, and Susie. Her charisma was unreal, sassy, confident, and totally magnetic. She wasn't just sexy, she was funny, relatable, and weirdly down to earth. Girls wanted to be her. Guys wanted to be with her. And suddenly, every woman in America was bleaching her hair. Speaking of that hair, here's a crazy fact. That platinum blonde wasn't just a style. It was a chemical hazard. Her team used a cocktail of ammonia, Clorox bleach, and Lux soap flakes to maintain the look, every week, on her scalp. Yikes. But behind the platinum glow, Jean's life was far from glamorous. Her second marriage, to MGM exec Paul Byrne, ended in a nightmare. 2 months after their wedding, Byrne was found dead from a gunshot wound. Suicide, they said. But rumors swirled. Was it a murder? Was Jean hiding something? The scandal rocked Hollywood, but MGM spun the story like pros, and Jean went back to work like nothing happened. Now here's the real kicker. Jean never truly recovered from Paul Byrne's death. She carried that trauma with her, even as the world kept treating her like a fantasy. And her love life? Messy AF, affairs, failed engagements, endless gossip. But she kept smiling, kept working, kept selling the illusion. Midway through the 30s, Jean was on top of the world, literally the #1 female box office draw in America. She was killing it. But her health? Not so much. She began experiencing fatigue, pain, and bloating, symptoms people brushed off as exhaustion or flu. Even her co-star Clark Gable, who adored her, thought she was just overworked. But it was worse. Much worse. In 1937, while filming Saratoga with Gable, Jean collapsed on set. She was rushed to the hospital. Diagnosis? Kidney failure. And back then, there was no dialysis. No transplant lists, no miracle drugs. She was dying, and no one could save her. Jean Harlow passed away on June 7, 1937. She was only 26. 26. Let that sink in. She crammed more fame, more scandal, more love, and more heartbreak into those 26 years than most of us will see in a lifetime. Here's the million-dollar question I want to ask you. If you were guaranteed global fame and fortune, but it came with a countdown timer, like, the clock's ticking, would you still take it? Let me know in the comments. I'm seriously curious about how many of you would go full Jean Harlow. Now, back to our story. After Jean's death, Hollywood was stunned. Studios scrambled, fans mourned. MGM had to finish Saratoga using body doubles and clever editing. The box office went wild. People came out in droves to see Jean's final performance. It was heartbreaking, beautiful, and somehow still iconic. Jean was buried in a gown she wore in Libeled Lady, a white satin dress picked out by William Powell, her final love. He couldn't even bring himself to attend her funeral. That's how deep the grief ran. Her legacy? Eternal. She broke the mold for what a leading lady could be. She paved the way for Marilyn Monroe, Jane Mansfield, Madonna, basically every bold blonde who came after. Without Jean Harlow, the entire definition of bombshell wouldn't exist. But here's the twist. Jean never thought she was sexy. She once said, "Men like me because I don't wear a girdle." That's it. No seduction, no mystery, just raw confidence and a refusal to be something she wasn't. That's what made her powerful. Over the decades, her image has been painted and repainted. From tragic starlet to misunderstood icon. She was more than the bleach and the baby doll voice. She was a fighter, a survivor, a girl who never got to become a woman but left behind a legacy women still look up to. So what did we learn from Jean Harlow's story? We learned that fame is a double-edged sword, glamorous but brutal, that the spotlight shines bright but it burns. Jean reminds us that behind every flawless photo and charming performance is a real person, often struggling in silence. Her life shows us how quickly the world can adore you and still miss what's really going on inside. She taught us that being iconic doesn't mean being invincible, and most of all, she proved that sometimes the brightest stars burn out the fastest, but their light keeps traveling. Now, before you go, let me leave you with one last tease. If you thought Jean Harlow's life was wild, wait till you meet Dolores Hart, the Hollywood sweetheart who left everything behind to become a nun. Yeah, you heard that right. A rising star, a future legend, and then a convent. Why would an actress with fame, fortune, and Elvis Presley himself by her side choose a life of silence and prayer? That's a story you don't want to miss. Tap that next thumbnail and follow her journey from the red carpet to the cloister.